Hi, I'm here with Nick Filippidis, who is the Director of Product Development North America for Celestyal Cruises. You do specialize, obviously, in the Greek Islands cruises, and we just got off a fantastic Greek Islands cruise. But one of the new itineraries in the last few years that you developed is a very hot destination, and not even in this part of the world, Cuba, right?
Yes, exactly. We were the first ones 4 years ago to go to Cuba in partnership with some other partners in that part of the world, but last year we took over the project ourselves. And of course last year, the opening of Cuba to Americans was very helpful for us. So we operate now year-round.
Before you're starting in November, you will be year-round.
18th is the first departure out of Montego Bay. We position the Cristal from the Greek islands to Montego Bay, and then we use as embarkation port either Montego Bay, which is very convenient for Americans, or Havana. So there are choices. Every Friday we depart from Montego Bay, and every Monday we depart from Havana. And this is going to be a year-round proposition. It's an amazing itinerary perfected over the 4 years. If we start in Havana, we go from there to the Island of Youth or Punta Frances. Then we go to Cienfuegos in Cuba. Then Montego Bay to pick up a lot of Americans from there. Then we go to Santiago de Cuba and back to Havana.
That's a pretty involved itinerary for Cuba. I think it sounds more than anybody else. Right?
Exactly. And in Havana, we have an overnight. So you have 2 full days to enjoy Havana, especially if you're embarking from Montego Bay.
Yeah. Now talk a little bit about how U.S. citizens can cruise in Cuba. What is the difference and what they have to do?
Americans, they still have to follow what we call a P2P program. It's
people to people, yeah.
People to people. It's a personal experience, cultural experience, exchange of ideas, and so on. So we have customized our shore excursions to involve experiences that they meet the requirements of OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control in the United States. The Cubans, they don't care. It's mostly what the United States government requires. So we have on-board lectures, exchanges on board, presentations, and then very involved shore excursions, but still plenty of time for our passengers to enjoy Cuba on their own.
Yeah, talk a little bit about those shore excursions. What are the kinds of things you do when you're in
well, we will visit sometimes art centers, come in contact with the artists, musicians, painters, and so on. Sometimes hospitals, educational centers, so we can learn, our passengers can interact and learn about the way of life in Cuba, which is quite unique. It seems like it's stuck in a time warp of about 50 years. But
at least for now, right?
For now, yes. That will change very soon. Yeah. And archaeological sites, we go through the architecture, we visit neighborhoods when they can really see how the locals are living. Of course, cigar making, it's one of the demonstrations over there. The Afro kind of Caribbean culture and religion. So we go in depth into everything that involves around the history and culture of Cuba.
Yeah. Now, talk a little bit about the ship, the Cristal, Celestyal Cruises that's there. Talk about the experience on board.
Yeah, well, the Cristal is our baby. This is the workhorse of the company. She's not going to be back to the Greek islands. The other vessels are taking over that. She's intimate. It's only 460 cabins. 980 passengers, 90 passengers in lower berths, and if we utilize the upper berths, it's about 1,200 passengers. So because of your size, it makes it very easy to enter those smaller ports where there is no infrastructure for the larger ones. That's why you see other cruise lines, they only visit Havana, they cannot go to other places. Or there are private yachts that they go, smaller boats for 50 people that they will visit the places that we include in our program.
Yeah, and you also going to have cuisine that reflects Cuba, right?
Exactly, and this is the beauty. In Greece we have the Greek cuisine, that's the focus. In Cuba we call it the authentic Cuban cuisine. And now Americans are becoming more aware of it because even on land, in Havana, in Cienfuegos. They have what they call the paladars. They're local restaurants actually in the houses of the people that they operate those, where Americans can enjoy the real authentic cuisine. And we had taken recipes from back 50 years ago when Cuba was at its peak and so on, and we have done a terrific job. So we can claim that we're offering, you know, the authentic Cuban cuisine.
Now talk a little bit about one of your other big differences is pricing. You have all-inclusive pricing in Cuba that you've now moved over to Greece, but talk a little bit about that, why it's important for both your guests and also for travel agents.
Yeah, it's once kind of a stop service. You buy everything up front. Your short excursions are included, and a limited drink package. We call it the blue packets that includes alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, and all those components, including the customized short excursions for the American clientele, are commissionable to travel agents. This is a very
tipping is included too.
And tipping is included, the same thing we have in the Greek islands. So one price for everything, commissionable to travel agents.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, I hopefully will experience this in the near future. I just got off your Greek cruises. It was an amazing cruise, and gave me a little taste of, a big taste of what's to come. And it sounds like cruising with you in Cuba is a great way to go.
And that's what we will invite you to experience, so you can relay that information to your audience.
Very good. Nick, thanks very much. And I'm James Schillinglaw for Insider Travel Videos.